This computer. Okay, so welcome everybody. We're going to go through the agenda for tonight's all Greek reunion planning meeting. What I'd like to do is maybe start with, I'll call out your name and then you can explain what your role here is, or if your role is just alumni, that's cool too. That way everybody knows who's doing what as we come in. So I'm Bernie Martin. I'm the chairman of the UPJ Greek Alumni Subcommittee for the Alumni Board. And Kathleen, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. I'm an alumni from 2015 AGD. I'm new in this group and I'm happy to jump in with whatever I can.
Cool. Welcome. Jody, why don't you go next?
Okay, I'm Jody. I'm an Omega from 92 and I'm in charge of the dinner and bonfire on Saturday night.
Jennifer, you're up.
I am Jennifer Werney Hughes. I'm an Alpha Gam, graduated in, what was it, 1990? And I am in charge of the welcome committee and I guess not exactly housing, but interface with how people register once they get there.
And when we get into the agenda, there's many questions that I listed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Kulikowski, or Matt Kulikowski. I'm a KDR brother, and I guess I would fall under just alumni.
All right, we'll find something for you to do. Jeff?
Hi, everyone. Jeff Kube. I'm an Acacia brother, graduated in 1992. I'm on the alumni board with Bernie, and I'm not sure what my role is, but I'll be willing to pitch in any way I can.
We'll go through that. We talked about a role, but we'll come back to that. And I forgot to put it on the agenda. Grace.
I'm Grace Zimmerman Simsik. I graduated in 92, or at least left campus at 92. I was a Delta Zeta, and I'm going to be leading up the campus tours on Saturday afternoon.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And they've changed everything on me. Wow, Zoom has an update. So there we go, desktop. Thank you. All right, so can you see this, right? That's the agenda for tonight. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to scroll down here and go to, just as a reminder, so we have a top level subcommittee, which Jeff and I and Pete Korch are on. And Jeff, I'm going to table this because one of the things Jeff was going to do was look over bylaws. I'm going to table this until the end of this meeting, if it's all right, and we can talk about that. I just don't want to go over. I think we've got to cover some of the stuff with reunion first, if that's all right with you.
That is fine with me. I actually do have to jump off early because I've got to go pick up my daughter from her dance lesson.
Okay.
I actually did not have this meeting on my schedule. I thought we had a meeting next Tuesday. For some reason, it was on my schedule, or next week. So I apologize for that.
That's okay. Fine. So we do them. Jennifer, what did we decide? It's always
Second Thursday of each month.
Second Thursday of each month.
At 6.
At 6. Okay, so now that we have Jennifer speaking, the first thing on the agenda is to kind of look through the Friday opening, and we need to make some decisions as we go through this. So the first item is, what time do you want to set up on this?
What does everybody think? I don't know, like when people are going to be arriving, you know, how many people we have Friday, how many people we have Saturday, and what time people are going to be coming in.
Thoughts, anyone?
I think like 5-ish, 4 or 5-ish for setup, maybe with a 5 o'clock open. So if people want to go hit happy hour up or something like that, they can. Or if they want to meet first and go grab dinner, you know, like if a group want to meet, throw their bags in their rooms and go grab dinner someplace, they have time.
I agree. So maybe like a set up around 4 and let people start coming in at around 5.
So Kathleen has this. This really doesn't have the picture that I'm looking for. There is this, where, oh, stop. This Varsity Cafe is 80 by 32. It's in the Living Learning Center when you check in. So we talked about doing a BYOB Friday evening.
Mhm.
This has a bar and everything in it. Like it's, Grace, you saw that with me, did you not?
I did, yes.
I think
And
if we had I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think that would be large enough because I don't think everyone's probably going to come up on Friday night. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll hold quite a few people.
It'll be nice if we have it open, it's there, people want to use it. If not, if they want to go do their thing, they can. So I don't.
So this is saying that this will hold 200 people. Like this is not a small place, and it's all
Yeah.
got like high tops and stuff. So if I could make a suggestion in that, on Friday night, the setup time I was referring to, I mean, I think we need to be there obviously on Friday, but the setup time I was referring to is what time do we want to have a check-in or registration table so you can get a name badge and pick up a swag bag? And I think having that at 4 or 5 o'clock may be a commitment that we're asking too much of somebody to sit there till 9 o'clock at night, if that makes sense. Because the Living Learning Center and check-in, we're going to have to clear with Kathleen, but that's going to be handled by them. Like that's
Yeah.
not our responsibility.
Then
As
why
far
don't we
as-
just have? Sorry, go
As
ahead.
far as, so you're saying they'll check in separately for their room assignment and then separately check in for like a name tag and the swag bag and,
Yes.
you know, list of what's going on for us. So, so if they can check in for their room and then come back at a later point, yeah, I think we could definitely just have that, you know, have a sign up at the room check-in with Kathleen, you know, and then have registration, you know, pick up your name tag and swag bag kind of stuff later on at the Varsity Cafe event.
Right. So maybe have that at 8 o'clock. Like maybe
might be a little
8 to 9.
That might be a little bit late.
Yeah. I would
Okay.
think at least like 7 and 9. And I think I
Okay.
think there's probably enough people. I think once we get a registration set up, there are plenty of people who are going to be, you know, willing to do like a half hour. Like even if we did a registration for, you know, 7 and 9 at least, I would say.
I'll say at our regional meetings, they usually the day before the actual meeting, we have like a happy hour type thing ahead of time. Registrations from a certain time to a certain time. And then because we're only having a BYOB on Friday night, I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't have a register, like cut it off at like say
Or do it
8,
or do
and then
twice.
next morning Saturday, have it next
Yeah.
next day on Saturday.
Yeah. Or even have one that's earlier, you know, like you could have a check-in 5 to 6 and then do it again from 8 to 9. So if people get there, if they're still able to check in and drop their bags and everything, you know, that if they're there early, they could do the early one and get their bag and take it back to their room or get whatever. But people who are showing up later, that there would be somebody at that registration desk, like more towards the end of the BYOB. So they could, you know, check in for their lodging and then come to the BYOB event and be able to check in, register for the reunion as they're leaving.
Either that, I mean, why can't we just mirror Kathleen's hours unless she's open 24? Like if she's saying like you have to be checked in by 7 o'clock, just mirror
Yeah.
her hours.
I think it would help to know what her hours are going to be.
Okay, so maybe we need to make a note of that and just say, or maybe we even get them to hand out the swag bag and
Yeah,
If we
and
could
the
do that, that'd be
badging and
great.
registration.
yeah. I mean, if we could do that, that would be even better.
Well, then we need to check on that then. So that's a good question for Kathleen.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the thing
I
would,
can-
the thing would be then what time does we need to have people there on Friday to get these swag
Right.
bags and stuff together?
Yeah,
So that's
Yeah.
kind of the bigger question.
I can do that. I can email her.
okay, so then if we're doing BYOB for this up there, theoretically we could order food, but let's talk about an open and close time for that first. We just want to have it open from whenever you arrive and you can just go hang out and mingle, and order food in, have pizza delivered if you wanted.
I think that works because
Yeah,
you don't know when people are going to get there depending on how far. It's too hard for us to order food and then have to worry about are people coming
Yep.
in late, are people coming in early. I think let them. I mean, Uber Eats exists for a reason, so let people get their food. And Friday, I think Friday's just they're on their own. We'll give them a location, but they're on their own.
yeah.
Well,
I
that's
think-
what I'm saying, but maybe we just provide some menus where they could order food, if
Yeah,
they
we could
wanted
do
to. Okay,
Yeah, and there may be,
Yeah, we can do that.
maybe someone wants to, if there's somebody local who's gonna, willing to help out a bit, that they could, say we have this reunion happening and would you be willing to give a discount for, delivery to this location on this night? And maybe that'd be, like provide your menu and go from there.
that works. So then that's what we need to figure out is maybe some local restaurants or something that could deliver food. Do we want to do an off-campus get-together? I think that what I'm hearing is we've got a lot on our plate. We're just going to go
Yeah.
with the BYOB, and if you want to go to dinner somewhere, you're on your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jeff?
I like that. That gives people flexibility. So
Jeff, Kathleen, Matt, questions on anything?
That makes sense. Sounds good.
Okay,
Sounds good to me.
go ahead, one at a time. Kathleen? You were saying
No, sounds good to me.
something? Okay, Matt, you're good?
Everything's good on my end.
Okay, so just to review, we don't know the check-in procedure because Kathleen's not here, so that's something we're gonna have to ask her. But the Living Learning Center has 200 rooms with 40 beds at $75 a night. And Willow has 25 four-bedroom apartments with 2 full baths. That's 190 beds at $130 a night. And that Willow is up above near Oak and Maple at the very top of the hill, while the Living Learning Center is where ENS's parking lot was, for those who don't know. Grace, you're up. Campus tour.
So after going on the tour, I think I want to add some spots that I hadn't really thought people might be interested in. And since we have some other organizations represented here tonight, if you guys could, get in touch with me, or I can throw up my email or whatever here and let me know what houses you lived in. Or if you were always in the same place, like Acacia and KDR.
Well, KDR's now moved.
Correct.
Okay,
We were at Sunset though till this year, but yeah, they have moved.
okay, great. Do you know where they moved to?
Prior 4, I think.
Okay,
That sounds about right. I'm not sure what the numbers they have currently.
right. And any places of interest or any kind of things that happened at the house that would be of interest that we could note. I think, for example, we used to paint the family trees on the walls in the basement. So if you guys have anything that's not incriminating that you want to mention, if you could let me know.
I was gonna say that's a slippery slope.
It is a slippery slope, so yeah.
Well, let's talk about what, hang on, let me do this in order, because we kind of jumped out of order, so I apologize. So the mimosa brunch was the first item for Saturday,
Right.
and start times and end times for that. Let me open this, because this is the first thing we need to decide. Come on. So these are the brunch options. So we'll call it 1, 2, and 3.
Start, please.
And for just ease of use, we're going to call it $17, $19, and 21 bucks.
Yeah. And that's just for the food.
Correct.
If we're calling it a champagne brunch, the champagne is going
we're
to
gonna
add
have
to
to-
it depending on how we do that. Yeah.
It's going to add like maybe $4 or $5 a person. No, it's actually not much.
Okay.
When we did the champagne brunch with for Delta Chi, we did this $16.40 one, which everybody actually seemed pretty happy with.
Mhm.
And you know, we had the mimosa there, and we charged $25 a head for it, and we actually made money.
Yeah.
I mean, the $16 one seems, I mean, there's so much choices on there, so much
Yeah.
stuff that I think that we can go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, you got stuff for people that are vegetarians, you got stuff for people that eat meat, you're good. You got
Yeah.
stuff that people that, you know, can't do gluten, so you're good, I think.
Okay, Kathleen, Matt, Jeff, thoughts?
Yeah, that first option, the $17 one, looks fine. I think it's varied enough.
Kathleen? I think Kathleen
Yeah.
still.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I think the $17 option makes sense too.
Matt, you in on this too?
I was hoping for some caviar, but I'll go with the 17.
You're allowed to
That's
bring
the-
it. You
I
can
was going to
bring
say that's the
caviar.
BYO.
You could bring wine too. I don't mind.
I know someone that might be able to find some.
That would be cool. Okay, so we're all in favor of the $16.40 option. So
Yes.
that's the decision on that. Perfect. All right. So we have the lunch selection. What time do we want to start the brunch, the mimosa brunch? What time do you want to end it? We did 11 to 1 when we did our 50th. My fraternity's 50th.
I think it also depends on what time we're gonna do dinner. If we're gonna do a later dinner, then yeah, a later brunch is definitely the option to go. Like if we're gonna do a 6 o'clock dinner, I think, you know, 1 to 1 with brunch is fine. But if you want to do an earlier lunch dinner type thing for the picnic, then the brunch should be earlier.
Grace?
I hear what Jody's saying. And so if we're doing dinner around 6, I think brunch 11 to 1. Yeah, and if we, yeah, I don't think that I'd want to do cookout earlier than 6, and maybe we've discussed that some already. And then if people are munchy later, they can pull those menus back out and order from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so brunch will do 11 to 1. So let's talk about what you and I talked about, because we went on that tour and we learned some things with the Alpha Xi Delta people.
Uh-huh.
It took longer than, it went a lot slower than we anticipated. And it was pretty easy. We could start at 1 o'clock and go till 5 or 6 on this tour.
Good. Yeah,
Would you agree with that?
I do. Yes. And I think having people, that was just one sorority, and I think some of the husbands had been at the campus too, so they had a few memories. But I think if we have a bunch of different people who have a bunch of different memories at every place, yeah, it could take a long time.
Yeah, there's because people want to chat and they're seeing stuff they haven't, and there's a lot to see.
Are we thinking it's going to be like a guided walking tour that a group of people are all together for the entire time? Or I would think it would be better to have, I think at the kind of common areas would be better to have somebody like staffing the space to talk about it,
Well, what
and
they've
that
had,
let people kind of wander.
well, what they've had in the past, it is a guided tour, and they have student guides who will do it. So they have people who will do the tour there, and they even had, in some cases, some of the professors were there from the department heads.
Yeah.
This is just for Delta Chi stuff.
That,
They just were
yeah,
there.
that was something that I had written down after the last meeting, to whether we wanted to invite, professors to come to be part of a, chat, meet and greet, whatever. But I just don't know, like some people are going to only be interested in seeing, certain things. They may not want to do a 3-hour tour of the whole campus.
I'll say, could we have,
You're muted.
sorry, could we have multiple tour guides, like more than one?
Yes, we would
Okay.
have multiple. So what I'm saying is
Yeah.
we could start at 1, but we may start another one at 1:15 and another one
Mhm.
at 1:30.
Yeah, so then people that like with us, I might not be interested in really like seeing stuff that, like that was not part of us when we were there. So I might, like the Omegas might all go together and kind of tour, like, as a kind of a group, and then
Yeah.
go from there. And there might be stuff we have no interest in seeing that other people would want to see, so.
Do we want to maybe do like time slots and just have people sign up for a tour time so that you have manageable size groups? But if you've got certain people who want to see certain things, or just have some of them be designated as, everywhere tours, and have like one for each organization in a time slot that you'd be touring with people in your other, people from your organization, and you'd definitely be hitting the places that your org wants to see, and maybe not everywhere else on the tour itself.
So what if
Does
we
that
did
make sense?
this? What if we came up with a list of all the places that we might want to see, and then we create another form after they're registered, like once we have
Yeah.
registration, and say, come in and tell us where you would like to go. So another online form, and that way it prints out in a spreadsheet. We have a list of where they want to go, and then we just sort it.
Yeah, I think that works. And I think if we have like, time slots that some, like some of the tours are just like general UPJ places. And then others could be, like there could be one particular tour time slot for each organization if they want to be specific that way. But then also, if it's possible to have people, to have students, like somebody set up for, I don't know, all the different places that people might want to see that are like newer spaces that weren't there when older alumni were there. Or, we talked in a previous meeting about, people who were in theater, would want to definitely see the theater, but maybe not everybody else would. So those kinds of things.
So the interesting thing is when we did this for Delta Chi, when we went to see the theater, and I went on the Alpha Psi Delta because that became part of it. Because it's literally you walk out of the LLC and walk up there. There was a tremendous amount of interest from everybody in there. Like even people that I know that would never have wanted to walk into a theater were interested in what was going on in the theater. Like it's surprising. It becomes more of a talking and walking, and in the theater place, this is my observation. People are getting reacquainted. They're like, oh, this happened. You're kind of going through, but then you're looking too, and then you've already rehashed some memories before you get to your Greek organization's house, if that makes sense.
So I think maybe what we want to do is, if everybody, on the committee has ideas about where they think would be good to be on a tour. And then also if we create a form and leave part of it open for places that aren't checkbox, or drop down. And then I think if we use, the messenger chat or Facebook groups, I know like for these meetings, I've been posting there's an Alpha Gam group. So if each of us that, in a different org takes charge of like posting in their org groups, but also we post it on the Greek alumni page, and we also, post the link for the kind of like form to fill out in the chat. The more, I don't know that we're going to get a lot of people who want to join in here to be part of the planning committee, but we're going to get a lot more feedback, I think, and generate more interest if we have like content questions that we're bringing up in respective groups to keep it in people's minds.
So then maybe then what we should do is from each collective group, gather names of places, give them all to Grace.
Yeah.
Grace compiles them, and then once we have people registering, like when we get close, like a week out, that's when we have them. We send a thing and say, "Here, fill out this form," or maybe 2 weeks out, fill out this form of where you want to see, and then we can decide because we already know they're registered and coming. Or
well,
maybe
I think we want to gather information from people early on, and then we can see like how many different places, and then there could be a refining of if we decide we want to do timed leaving tours, if we want to tailor specific, individual tours towards a group or not, we can make that decision if we want to have a specific sign up.
Well, maybe we should ask Kathleen if she could do that. Maybe that becomes part of a form. If you sign up for it, you get an email to ask you to fill out another online form.
Yeah.
Right.
I think we need some like early information before we even know how we want to structure it.
Yes. So what we did again for Delta Chi was we charged $5 for the tour. And it wasn't because the tour cost us anything. It was just so that we knew who was registering for it.
I think that's a good idea.
And maybe we can get them to maybe get David to give a UPJ alumni pin or something for that if you're registered for the tour.
Right. And those tote bags he was handing out.
Right. They've got swag stuff.
They do.
Okay, so and then he'll have signage made, like chloroplast signs that you have like for election signs outside of the building with a short history of stuff. All right, so that's the brunch. Any questions? The brunch and the tour.
Are we doing any kind of program at the brunch? Or is it just here's the food, here's the mimosas, and chat amongst yourself?
I like that idea because Because you don't know when over 2 hours, you don't know how many people are going to be coming and going, when they're coming and
Yeah.
going. So.
I mean, we could invite the president to come down and speak at lunch, you know, at like noon or something. Certainly David will want to say a few words at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grace, if you want to talk to David about that, about if, you know,
Yeah.
who we might want to have, say, around noon.
Okay. I can do that.
Cool. All right, cookout. We have a DJ reserved. It's $500. I had a meeting with Kathleen and David, and I didn't want to go around the committee at all in any way, shape, or form, but we need to put a budget number for the ticket pricing together for all the other stuff. In other words, you're going to get your room. Here's your food. We know that food costs us $25 for the mimosa brunch. The tours say $5. Okay, now the cookout and evening, we need a ticket price. So the food, do I have the food on that? Hang on. Do I have, which browser am I in? Give me one
Can I
second.
ask a question while you search for that?
Yes, absolutely.
Since I'm new to the group and catching up here, was anything sent out for people to maybe sign up or indicate that they're interested in coming?
Yeah, we sent out a link. I know I
Mhm.
posted it in the Alpha Gam group. And I think it was posted also in the UPJ Greeks page. But we can definitely send it out again. And it had a lot of information about whether you were interested in just coming and having fun,
Mhm.
or whether you wanted to help with any of these particular, organization planning topics, or whether you were just willing, you were coming and you didn't mind helping out for setup
Mhm.
or registration or anything like that for a short while on the weekend. So, but we'll definitely be like hitting people up again to kind of keep hitting and reaching more people.
Hey, Jennifer,
Yes.
along those lines, and to kind of answer that question, first off, and I apologize, I only saw that just as this meeting was going on. I was just kind of looking back at a couple things, so I did miss it. I also have a question, Bernie, you might know, because I see you're trying to get some leads for a lot of these fraternity sororities, some that, were before my time.
Yes.
Do you have a lead for each of these organizations? I guess what I'm saying is, like, I could just kind of pull KDR and find out the interest level. I could say, Bernie, I think we're going to have 20 people. I think we're going to have 80 people, or whatever, that'd be the
Here's what we
best
have.
relative to get a budget in my mind, at least get a macro estimate of what you think, this organization, we can't even find anyone. So probably no one's going to come. Delta Chi, because you're very involved, X amount are going to come. And then at least try to build a budget around that, because right now, I think you're just shooting in the dark, candidly.
Well,
I
we
think
are.
what we're looking for budget wise is a like price per person, or price, like getting a price per event. And then overall, when people register, they're going to be able to choose kind of a la carte what events they're going to be at.
Correct.
Yeah, but the thing is, like with this
Crazy.
bonfire, so you're looking at a photo booth, you're looking at a DJ, you're looking at all this
Well,
stuff.
Yeah.
It's not per person, so you kind of have to have an idea.
Well,
Yeah.
wait, no, that's, give me 1 second. So,
Sorry, the
Right, so-
CFO me is telling me we need a budget. I'm sorry.
right, well, bear with me 1 second. So this is who we have as representatives, Matt, and this is from planning meeting 5, September 13th. Your name is on here.
September.
You actually said something to me before about that. So here's
Yeah.
the people that we have to reach out to the existing organizations.
So here's what I'm guessing, and I could be way off base. This is going to be probably the volume of who's going to attend
Those
these
organizations,
organizations.
yeah.
And that's what I'm saying relative to a budget. I understand you're saying we need to come cost per person, but if you have 100 people versus 300 people, to me, that cost changes drastically.
Well, let me back up. So this is
And
the
you just don't want
conversation.
it. I just don't want you guys or us to be upside down.
Well, let's talk about this. So the conversation that David had today and that we had yesterday is, I said, David, what I need to know from you is what kind of cost can the university cover, like off the top. And what we determined was that the DJ and the photo booth, which is like $850, that should be UPJ coverage. So he's trying to target 15 to 1800 that he can pull from a budget for reach out for alumni outreach to cover those two big items, right? So the DJ and the other, so let's anticipate that we take those two items off the table. If each organization wants a tent, so a tent cost for a 12 by 20 tent is $150. So as we talked about in a previous meeting, I know you guys, some of you guys weren't here, we talked about creating kind of a fraternity sorority row up on the university. It's where the gazebo is, where they do homecoming.
Okay.
All right, so that's where we're going to be. That's where the celebration will be at, where the fire pits are and everything there. So we're talking about having those at 150. So if your organization wants to have its own house per se, it's going to cost you $150 to rent the tent, and they will provide tables and chairs for that. So what we're really down.
I think it's going to depend a lot on how many people from each organization come, because I think if you have an organization that's got fewer people coming, you know, they're not going to want to spend $150 for a whole tent for, you know, 10 people or whatever it is. So I think if we could incorporate, you know, 1 or 2 tents, that's kind of like a common area, and the tables are set up like that you could claim a certain number of tables depending on how many people are coming, might be a better idea. You know, if any particular organization knows they've got a lot of people coming and they want their own house tent, then they could spring for that. But I think it might be better to kind of estimate, you know, what's the number of people per tent that will work, and whether we want to do like half of it be tables and half of it be open space for standing around, or, you know, Adirondack chairs or lawn chair kind of seating, as opposed to, you know, a larger table.
Or maybe just have Greek tables in a large tent.
Yeah, because I think it's, you know, like part of it too was, you know, everybody's going to maybe want to see their own organization members, but, you know, like we all had friends in other organizations too. So I think having a space that's more integrated facilitates like mingling and mixing all the organizations together.
So maybe we move away from the individual tents and just ask for one big tent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think so too. One or two big tents, depending on how many people. I mean, if we only have like 150 people showing up, one tent with tables would be good, besides the regular mixing area. But if we have 300-400 people, then it's a different story. We might need a couple more tents.
Yeah. Like how many people do we anticipate one tent serving is kind of like, that's the idea, depending on how we set it up.
Okay.
Like if it's set up like banquet tables, it would be fewer, but if it's set up with some tables in an area, and then like, you know, it could be like bring your own lawn chair kind of thing, and people can sit around in groups. I don't know what the easiest way, you know, what the university has as far as,
they have
you know,
plenty
what's
of tables
available.
and chairs. They have plenty of tables and chairs, what they're telling me. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
And they told us they had 0 tents, so.
Yeah,
We have
but
three
so
10
I
by 10
think
tents.
if we go with having that kind of more as a generalized mixed area, and then we had talked last time too about if individual people have like easy up 10 by 10 kind of tents, or if we wanted to look into being able to provide those, like we could even have those kind of set up around the general tent, and then that would be like our house row.
Okay.
If organizations want to have a designated their own space, and then they'd be in charge of what goes in there.
Quick question. Along those lines, what if an organization just wanted to rent it versus having to deal with it? Would that be a possibility too?
With wanted to rent what?
If there was an auxiliary, like
10 by 10 kind of thing.
right, that
Yeah,
you
I don't
deal with
I expect
with that
it's
stuff.
probably easy enough to, whoever they get the larger tents, maybe that's something that could be an add-on. Or the other option too is we could look at what the space is and what the desire for that is. We could have one tent that's just the general mingling space, and one tent that just has smaller table areas that are for each organization to walk around.
Jennifer, after I said that out loud, I'm starting to think it could just again be me and tell me to shut up. If we do those individual tents, I think we're gonna end up having people just hang out at their tents versus
Their
mingle.
tents. Yeah.
I think we can just
I
stay
personally
with
like the
these
idea better.
prominent big tents.
Yeah, I like the idea better of having the big tent, and we'll just have to decide depending on how many people register, whether we need one or we need two, or, and they can always be set up, close enough to each other. And then just within each, in each tent, if there's somebody wants to, I mean, like we all, at the other reunions, we kind of all congregated with our groups, but then mixed and mingled too. So I think that's just an easier, like, don't overthink it kind of thing.
That's fair.
And we talked about, like if people wanted to bring like pictures or memorabilia or things like that, I think that might be something better to do like in the Living Learning Center or something like that, like have in the alumni room or something like that, to be able to have tables set up there.
Could we set that up like on Friday night during happy hour? If people want to bring stuff, then we just have tables in the Living Learning Center. Then if it rains, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to worry about high wind and things blowing away.
Well, that's brilliant. So we, instead of trying to put all this stuff under the tent, do it in the Living Learning Center in Heritage.
Yeah.
And have tables in Heritage where you can look at stuff.
Right.
Oh, okay. That solves. That's where I was going with the individual tents, so you could put stuff under it and then not have, and then still have like something else. Okay. That fixes that. That's great.
And I think we could have, that could be something, whether it's, if there's a person for each org that's kind of collecting things, or if we have a, box or a bag for each org that when people register for the reunion, if they brought something, make sure they have their name on it for returning it to them. But then it could go in a box or a bag that they could have one person who's in charge of setting up that org's table, that it would be ready for Saturday and, be ready before the brunch. So like before, during, and after the brunch, that could be a space that people go through.
Either that, or we know what organizations are going to show up at the brunch, the Living Learning Center. We just tag everybody's name on a table, and it's up to them to put their stuff on their table.
Put stuff,
it's up to them to collect it. It's off our hands.
Yeah, that works too.
To worry about.
You could build in a dedicated like cleanup time too at the end.
That works. So that means that we come down to, let's pretend that, and I can't find the food option that Kathleen must have not sent it to me. I thought she did. Maybe I just can't find it. But let's pretend that food was $25, because I think that's what we all talked about last time. you know, because that's going to be the hamburgers, hot dogs, all that stuff in the evening, right? Then there's going to be a beer cost, which we don't know yet, right?
Are we doing the beer cost or are we doing BYOB?
Well, what we talked about, what she had talked about was perhaps a cash bar or drink tickets. So maybe you get, as part of your registration, you get 2 drink tickets. And then everything else after that goes to a cash bar. But you can BYOB.
To hire a bartender then.
Well,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to, no, we are hiring a bartender. No, that's part of the university has to have that.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're gonna have a bartender. That's something that,
I thought
Yeah.
that Kathleen said if we did a BYOB, we didn't have to have the bartender. It was only if we were serving alcohol.
That's what I remember too.
did we want to, I don't recall. She was,
Looking back on my notes, what I see is $500 per bartender. I don't have it specifically written down about the BYOB not needing one, but I know we talked about that.
so do we want to go all, how did we do it with, how did we do it at, the other 2?
It was just beer kegs and they did have a bartender. They had that beer truck and it was a
Yeah.
bartender, but it was just beer. So if you
Right.
wanted to bring anything else, you had to bring it yourself. Yeah, so it wasn't like mixed drinks or anything like that.
Right. Well, I don't think we were talking about mixed drinks. So which way do you guys want to go? Like, what's your thought?
I could be either way, but like I just know a lot of people that don't drink beer, and so then
Yeah.
you're getting into getting wine, and you're getting into getting them something else. So then they're paying a ticket price for something that they're not going to be drinking.
Lady, I'm glad to hear you say that. Thank you for my industry.
It just I have a lot of people I know nowadays that used to drink beer in college all the time, just don't anymore.
Don't, yeah.
Not me, but a lot of people.
But
I
all
wouldn't
kidding
wanna-
aside, I rarely drink beer now. It's wine, bourbon, vodka. So I might be in the minority, but
No, I think but I think it depends on your age demo.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, I think that other people are going to be quite happy with wine or I'm sorry, with beer. And, you know, if you're going to BYOB, you're good.
I think it would be worth, I can put that on my list when I email Kathleen. Maybe I'll just set up a time to do a call with her
Okay.
and get more details about like how that BYOB would work, how that would get managed. I know I advise for collegiate chapters now, and I know there's a whole, like standardized how they have to do it if they do BYOB events. I don't know whether the university uses those kinds of guidelines or not. But I can check with her and find out how that would work, and we can kind of figure it out more at the next meeting.
I want to say it was Dave or it was Kathleen that mentioned that if we had it, it just had to be in a designated area, which would be the tents. And we just had to make sure everybody was 21. Like we had somebody carding. So if we had everybody, and we had talked about getting the name tags, you just had like a stamp on your name tag that showed that you were 21. And then
Yeah.
Might be easier to
I mean,
do a
that'd
stamp
be-
if you're not 21.
then they wash them
Yeah.
off. Come on.
Well, no, but you would put it on the name tag. So if we have a stamp or a sticker that we use and designate when they register for the reunion and they get their name tags, anyone who doesn't show ID, you would stamp their name tag that they're not 21.
Well, I think we can establish that if you graduated 3 years ago,
Yeah,
you're
right.
21.
But yeah, I think it's more if we end up with people who are bringing family,
Okay.
which I don't know if we will.
I don't, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to bring their families.
Yeah. I mean, you might bring a spouse, but chances are I don't see a lot of people bringing kids.
Would you really want to bring your like young children around
Yeah, no.
No,
that?
That's
I was thinking it, but I wasn't gonna say it.
yeah. We had in early discussions, we had talked, like in future years, because we want this to be kind of a recurring thing, that it may develop into
A family
having
weekend.
a more family weekend. Yeah. So, but I don't think we're at that point right now. So
So what Kathleen and David and I did talk about was having, if it's $25 for the dinner, right? And it's 25.85, whatever that was, right? The maximum would be 50 or 55 for the ticket price to cover the rest of it.
I mean, that could be something too, that you do the price for the food, like the event plus food, and have a separate add-on to include the alcohol, if that's what we're doing.
Well,
If we're
but
doing
it's
BYOB, it doesn't matter.
but it's a ticket price to cover all the other miscellaneous things, and that's where the
That's what I'm
swag.
saying.
Yeah. I mean,
But
here-
I think it's not a bad idea to have, and if we're providing alcohol, to have that as a separate item in addition to, as an add-on to the event, because there may be people who don't drink too, and it's not fair to ask them to pay for everybody else's liquor.
True, but this is going to be for like the swag.
The swag, the entertainment, the
Yeah.
tables, the tents, right.
Yeah,
No, I get that. Like, that's what I'm saying. So we have a price for all inclusive, the event itself and food, but just have an add-on charge if
for
you're
alcohol.
for alcohol. Yeah.
Okay, then that's the way we go. So what the number that I threw out to them was, let's pretend we had $20 our costs for swag.
which puts us approximately about $46 per person. So I guess the $4 cushion. Just for any
Roughly.
incidentals we don't think of. And I mean, worst comes to worst, if we have too much money in this account, then goes to the next year's reunion.
Yeah. Or we
Yeah.
talked about,
Or
like
make a
for
donation to-
like a log cabin fund or something like that, that we can figure it out.
Right.
Mhm.
Having too much money is not a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So let's
Yeah, I'd
look
rather
at-
have too much than not enough. So
let's pick out some swag. And I don't apologize. I went to an event and I found stuff that was reasonably priced. There would be a t-shirt too here somewhere. So you guys can look. These are color changing cups. So once we put the logo on here and say this logo is yellow or gold, it would change to blue. So it would
Cool.
be basically Pitt colors. So these are, let's call them, for 250, they're $1.30 a piece. There's these folding cooler totes for $7. Bamboo bar tools to open wine bottles from Matt. Let me know when you want me to scroll. These are actually pretty nice, these 6-can lunch coolers. So my thought was, if we're going to do BYOB, it gives you something to bring. Now you've got a cooler that we're giving you. This is a way more expensive lunch cooler, right? Same deal. This is a little personal care kit that could be branded, where you're going to get like sunblock because it's June, so we could be into some sun. And what'd you call it? Lip
Hand
moisturizer.
sanitizer. Yeah.
And a breath mint. And here, actually, I like these beer mugs myself, because they're more of a mug and they're the color changing as well. And this is a bottle opener keychain. And these are a safety light. So it's a flashlight. So you can do a strobe light. So when you're walking back to the LLC or to the Willow, you can find your way with a strobe light. Just to make it interesting. But that's kind of the overview of the stuff. So I'm not, I mean, there's certainly a t-shirt that we're going to have to work on a design from, but any thoughts on any of this?
Do you have any idea what the t-shirt cost might be?
T-shirts are going to be around $10.
And what was the cost for the color changing mug versus the cup? I have 130 for the cup.
130 for the cup and $295 for the mug.
That's it. Bernie, like I said, I know that I've told you already before on this when we looked at them, but like the coolers and stuff, like I know myself personally, I have a bazillion coolers sitting in my basement because I built it for so many years.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think everybody's going to be bringing their coolers already because they're going to need them for Friday night. So I don't know that the coolers are going to get as much use as we think.
Okay.
And as everybody has a matching cooler, nobody's going to know which cooler is theirs.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Bernie, I'm thinking mug to drink out of, like you said, sunscreen if you need it, and maybe that light if it's cost effective. That's my thoughts.
I think the only thing with the flashlight is everyone has a flashlight on their phone.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, but my
So I
battery.
don't know that they'll really pull out the extra.
If you're going to get the flashlight, get the one that has a bottle opener too.
Yeah.
Just saying. I actually have that
Multi-purpose.
little bottom one you have. And it smells
Wine
great.
opener. Wine opener.
It's on here. It's right there.
That's 565.
So, okay, so if we did this mug,
Mhm,
right, the 20-ounce stackable beer mug with a handle.
mhm.
Now, this is an LED bottle opener, an LED light and a bottle opener.
Like
For
a cap opener.
Correct.
How much
Yeah.
was that?
$2.80.
280.
Hey Bernie, by the way, those logos look great that you posted. That it seemed that got more response than anything lately.
Yeah, I need that. That's the next thing we're going to go to.
Oh, I was trying to tee you up there, buddy.
Yep. So, all right. So, what are your thoughts?
I like something to drink out of because then even if you need
Yeah.
water in the morning, you have something in your room you can use. And I like definitely the t-shirt and then either the keychain or the bottle opener.
The cap. Yeah, the cap opener or the wine opener. The wine opener is more expensive.
Wine opener is much more expensive. It's
Yeah, 565.
It's going to
is
run
what
us
I wrote down.
$565 for 100 of them.
Um,
So if we had 200 people, that's going to be over $1,000.
I was
Yeah.
kidding about the wine opener. I don't think we did that.
But you know what?
and I
like-
don't know that the personal care kit, I think like people are going to bring their own stuff.
Okay. So let's do it.
Alright.
How about these two right here?
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
I think that and a t-shirt is good.
So that's
Okay.
like $6 in the t-shirt. You're saying 10, so that's like 16. So yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I'm assuming too, on top of these prices, there's also the whole setup fee for the logo and everything else.
Yeah, it's going to be like 25 or $30.
Oh, that's cheap. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I do a lot of business with HDS.
Okay.
We're getting the Bernie discount.
Well, they're very nice people. Okay, so, but that also that's dependent here. So depends on how many we get, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's not that big of a price break that it's going to make
Yeah.
that big of a difference
I
in the
think if
budget.
we-
So
Base our budgeting on the higher cost, then we're even, better set if we end up paying the lower.
Yep. Okay. So these two items right here are what we're looking at doing.
mhm.
Okay. So then next is this. The consensus seemed to be number 3.
Yeah.
So I'm good with that. I'm just gonna run with number 3 because that's what everybody seemed to like.
Mhm. That works.
I like it.
All right. Oh, I have one other thing I want to show you. Give me 1 second. Grace, I showed him that sweater.
Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt. I do have to run to a class. But I'm happy that I could join today, and I'm happy to help with anything that I could be helpful with. Jennifer, I know you and I are in the same groups, so
Yeah.
please feel free to reach out with anything.
Okay.
But have a good night, everybody.
You too.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining.
Good night.
So this was a different idea. And I'm gonna stop sharing. All right. So this is a sweater, unisex sweater, has a pocket down here. It more looks like it's cut like a sport jacket. These are completely new. They haven't even hit the market yet. This was part of their open house. But the thought was we could put like a UPJ Greeks logo down here. And if you wanted to put your letters somewhere else, you could, and sell it as just an option. And it was just obscure. It was there. And it's like, do we want to add something to a store on the website where you could buy something nicer? I don't know if anybody would, but so yes, the Ivy League of the Laurel Highlands. Yes, exactly. Thank you for that, Matt. I'm throwing it out there. They sent me a sample sweater. It was pretty cool. And it's not bad. So, well, Grace saw it.
I saw it. Yeah. It's a nice weight for that time of year.
Right. So you can say no, which I'm fine with. Just throwing it out. Let's go ahead and say no. Somebody speak. Don't just look at me like okay,
I'm
you're
not.
an idiot.
I'm not interested personally, but yeah.
Okay, I'll say
I'm
no.
not crazy. I'm not crazy about it either. It kind of looks so mannish.
Yeah.
It's what?
For me
mannish.
personally, I don't like the collar on it, but I think something more casual would be something people would maybe be more interested in. Like I have a sweatshirt. It has kind of like a polo collar on it, and it has it's like a tiny zip, like a
Like
quarter
this?
zip, just
Similar
a
to
neck
this?
collar, yeah, like that. But it's like a heathered kind of collar sweatshirt, but has like the kangaroo pocket on the front that you can go in from either side, and it just has embroidered Alpha Gamma Delta logo circle. It's one I got at an advisor training at headquarters, and I wear the heck out of that. So like something more casual like that you
Okay.
would wear, you could wear that weekend, that night, or you could wear it around the house or whatever, I think would be probably more popular than the sweater you showed.
Okay. Again, I wanted to throw out an idea if we wanted to do, and maybe not even for this year, but down the road, if we wanted
Down the
to
road.
use some sort of Greek alumni swag,
Yeah.
then we could offer your letters on it. So it's kind of uniform, but it's still UPJ Greeks.
Yeah. I think that down the road is maybe a better idea. And if we even had like pictures or samples, if, on Saturday we wanted to have, when we have the tent set up or for the brunch or whatever, if we wanted to have a table that was like, here are ideas we looked at, like what appeals to people to get information of the people who actually show up there, what would appeal for you for the next one?
That's a great idea. Okay. Okay, cool. Then let me go back to, we did this. Where am I at on
Yeah,
that?
Bernie, I knew you well enough that reminds me of the John Travolta Grease Letterman sweater.
John Travolta Grease Letterman. Oh, interesting. I never really thought about that. Okay, so it was just kind of cool because They have everything. I mean, HDS has this show that has like 60 or some vendors, and it's every piece of swag, clothing, Nike, Puma, you name it, right?
Yeah.
It's all
Do
there.
they have do they have print catalogs?
They have print catalogs that are going to be that would
Huge.
I would
No, I
fill
was
up
just
this
thinking
room.
like if we have a table set up, like with the memorabilia tables for the brunch, like if we had a table set up that people could flip through and then like a sign up for like, hey, I'd be interested in this, just to give us ideas for the next one.
They have 60 vendors
Or
like and
a link. Yeah, just
but
even
their
just a link.
catalogs, but their one vendor's catalog is 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full line clothing.
Okay. But that might be something, that like in the planning for the next one, that
Yeah.
would be another like touch point to keep in touch with people, that you send out a link and say, here's the company we're getting swag from, here's the link to their catalog. If you got a minute and want to browse through, and then here's a form you could submit the item number of things that you'd be interested in purchasing.
Okay, cool.
And, if we get, enough people interested in a couple different things, then we could add those as items.
That works. So let's table it. It just happened to be one of those things.
Next time.
Yep. All right. So then the final thing was, what Kathleen is saying, the rain location would either be Heritage Hall or the LLC. Heritage Hall at the LLC, I should say.
Okay.
Which is where the Mimosa Brunch is. Final thing is going to be continental breakfast. Do we want to do a continental breakfast or offer a continental breakfast on Sunday?
I think it might be easier to do a grab and go bag. And that could be something, I'll ask Kathleen about it when I talk to her. It seemed like that option was something that people it would be an additional form for them to fill out if they wanted a specific item, like grab and go sandwich kind of thing, a fruit cup, whether they wanted whatever. I think that might be the easiest way to do it, and just have them, they could pick it up at the LLC, and we could have a beverage station or something for Sunday.
Okay, I'll let you, Matt, you had something.
My fraternity has 2 organized events per year, and my little brother has a unofficial, about 25 people unorganized. Every Sunday, some people leave like crack of dawn, some leave at 11. For cost saving, I just say let everyone do their own thing on Sunday.
Well, this would be, it would be something they could pay for when they register. So this would go completely through the university. We wouldn't have to do anything about it.
Yeah, and it would be.
That's fine then.
She's saying continental breakfast. So toast, donuts, fruit. Like
I think I think it would be easier to just do a grab and go bag and have, coffee, tea and juice. Because I think that's easier to plan for than having enough options for different people for a continental breakfast. I think people are going to be more, get up, grab a sandwich and a cup of coffee and get on the road kind of thing, not so much a continental breakfast.
Well, okay. And maybe
what does everybody else think?
My interpretation of continental breakfast is literally donuts, toast, coffee, juice.
Yeah. See, if I had the option of a breakfast sandwich with, egg and bacon and cheese or something like that, that would definitely appeal to me more. I don't know that I'd pay for a continental breakfast that's going to be pastries and coffee.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's see what she defines.
That's just my opinion, but what does everybody else think?
I mean, honestly, when we do our sorority weekends and stuff like that, like Sunday, like everybody just kind of gets up and goes. If people want to go to breakfast and they hit breakfast up someplace, like they'll go down to Eaton Park or Starbucks or something like that.
I agree with Jody 100%. I think you guys, as generous as it is, the thought process, I think most people are just trying to get out.
Fair enough. Only because they have that varsity cafe where you can go in and they have all the stuff already there. That's my thought.
Is that, I mean, that's not going to be open unless we request it though, right?
Could be. But what Kathleen said to me the other day was, it really doesn't cost them anything to open that place.
I just didn't know like if that's something that's, generally stocked through the summer because they have
Yeah, I don't know.
stuff, staff or whatever, or I'll ask her. I'll add that to my
Yeah.
list of questions for her.
Yeah, we probably just need to ask, because she added, I didn't even think about that. That was on her email to me from yesterday. Like that's new to me. So maybe that's just something to pick up with her.
Maybe at least have coffee and tea available. Like a hotel has.
I was gonna say, is
coffee
there
and
like
tea.
a checkout process too that people need to come to the LLC and turn their keys in or whatever?
Right.
If they're gonna be there anyway, that might be an option to just even have a beverage service if we don't want to deal with food.
Right.
If it's no issue for them to add a grab and go bag and that's easy for the university to do,
Sure.
it doesn't hurt us. It's not something we have to plan or deal with at all. That could be an option we offer. So I'll check with her and see how that would work.
Okay, perfect. Then that's all I have, unless you guys have anything else. Jeff, Matt, the only thing I would ask is if you would like to be on one of these committees, we would welcome your help.
Well, that's just what I was going to say. And I apologize that, my daughter's high school just announced their awards banquet and it's on Friday. So I can tell you flat out, I'm not going to get there till Saturday. So as much as you need on Saturday, I'd be more than welcome to help. If you just need help with recruiting, I'd love to do that. But I didn't realize when we started this that they would have that going on. It's my last child, so I got to be there.
Oh yeah.
My in that same vein, my daughter's commencement is on Friday. They have moved it up. It's traditionally been the first week of June, and they're having it that Friday. So obviously I can't miss, but I can help out Saturday.
So we've got 2 Saturday committees, gentlemen. You can either be help on the campus tour with Grace, or the Saturday evening organization of Saturday evening. So this may be like a registration table. And
Be
that's
happy
Jody.
to help out with the campus tour.
Great. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, so we'll put Jeff over on Grace's committee. Matt, do you want to hop on Jody's just to help out on Saturday evening?
What's her committee? Is it?
The
Is it
evening
cookout.
dinner?
Saturday
It's the fun
night.
stuff. Yeah, it's the cookout and the
Sure.
bar and the chilling out on Saturday night.
So
Sure.
if somebody just comes up for Saturday night, we're going to need to have a registration table just for them. Like if they don't stay overnight, but they just want to have that, we probably need some. That's where I think we may need help.
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to help Jody. Jody, we're gonna have
Great.
some nice vino.
Yes. I can't do res, it gives me migraine, just so you know.
Okay, duly noted.
Jody, I would love to help out too in an
Okay, great.
unofficial capacity.
Great, yeah, I do have a couple people on the list that Jennifer had sent that were wanting to help out too on Saturday, so if we have a registration table, we could probably bother
We can
everybody for
probably
like half
pull-
hour,
yeah.
45 minutes. Can
Yeah.
Jennifer, can you send out, I don't know.
I
do
was
believe
looking
there was
at
a
it,
lot of
yeah.
the megas that just signed up in the last day or
I
two.
did see that. I was looking at it just tonight before the meeting. So I was like, yeah, I'll have to pull that and send it out again.
Yes.
I did notice also there was one Alpha Sigma Alpha that signed up, and there was not Alpha Sigma Alpha on the drop down list. So Bernie, I don't know if you can add that
Oh,
as an
really?
option without,
Wait,
Apparently we
really?
missed one.
Oh my God. Hang on, let me fix that.
Hey everyone, I've got to jump off now, but
Yep.
thanks, and I'll be in touch, and look forward to working with everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right.
I put it in
File.
the chat, but speaking of ASA, I tried to get Cindy Vukolich to head up that sorority, but she declined. But she did mention she would try to get someone, but I forgot to follow up. She's gonna be out of town that weekend.
Oh my God, I don't have it.
Bad choice. Yeah, Matt, if I know, lots of KDR and ASA, since you guys were both down on South Lodges, if, you could check with some of your brothers and see, if anybody has ASA connections that we could try to find somebody who could kind of represent them.
Yeah, I think
as far as getting the word out.
I think at least a dozen of them cross-pollinated and married each other. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to get to these notes. If not tonight, then definitely over the weekend. And I'll post them on the UPJ Greeks website, and I'll cross-pollinate and post the link in the Facebook group and Messenger and wherever else. And then feel free to just share out that link if you have independent org, chats or email lists or Facebook groups or whatever.
Will do, because even though I think there's a lot of KDR on this page, I know we have our separate individual page, and
Right.
guys are a lot more often.
Yeah. And then I don't know, Bernie, do you have is Matt's email in the kind of distribution list you had sent out before?
I can add it.
Yeah, if you want to just make sure everybody.
Matt, can you put your email address in the text box here? Just make sure I got it.
Or just, if you're representing an organization, like if you see something posted on the UPJ Greeks or the Facebook group, or the, if you see me posting something, like go ahead and share that out with your individual groups.
Okay. Matt, I'm going to add you. I'll add you into the whole distribution.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, emails here. Okay.
And just a side note, I know Jody's been there, Bernie's been there. I don't know if Hogan's coming in. I mentioned my little brother, but we usually get together in December for an impromptu happy hour. So if anyone's in Pittsburgh, I'll let you know the date.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
I look forward
Actually,
to that.
usually I shouldn't say December. Usually it's February, isn't it? Now I think about it.
Well, I think
February.
I know it was
around-
winter. I know it was not during Christmas time because
Yeah,
Rob
it's
didn't
after
wanna
the
make it,
new
so,
year.
yeah.
But anyhow, I'll throw it on the Greek page when it comes up again.
Cool.
Cool. Any other new business items that we need to cover?
I don't think so.
Next
No.
meeting date is December. What is it? December.
I'm gonna put it in my calendar now because I keep missing these things.
We're December 12th, right, Jennifer?
Pulling up a calendar.
That's a Tuesday.
14th,
14th. Oh, yep. Sorry, 14th. Yep.
second Thursday.
Yep. Second Thursday. Got it. 14th. Okay, so you'll get together with Kathleen. You guys will talk to Kathleen.
Yeah.
We'll start gathering some stuff. Grace, if you want to hop on that and ask for what places people want to see on the Facebook group.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then just gather the information that we need to gather for the next meeting.
All right. Yeah, and I'll touch base with David too about someone speaking at the Mimosa Brunch.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, I think that's it.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
We will see you
Yeah.
all next month.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye now.
Bye.